Hello and welcome to Set Your Inner Child Free. During this series, I want to invite you to settle in and take a load off, and we're going to truly nurture your inner child spirit. We're doing this during this series in a variety of different ways. We're healing and we're playing and we're getting in touch with our soul's magic. We're bringing play back into our lives, and I want you to make sure that you grab something that is nourishing to you. I have my giant water that I've been drinking throughout the series. I want you to grab your journal, any art supplies, anything that's going to help you to really digest the information that you're going to get today. I'm just so excited about our guest. She's one of my very favorite people to interview ever. So yeah, anything that you have hanging around your place that's going to help you kind of digest the information, do it. Some people do art journaling. All good. So we're going to start with our 3 grounding breaths. We're going to take a deep breath in, coming into your body, coming into your feet and out. Again, take a deep breath in, coming into your chest, into this moment and out. One more deep breath in all the way until you get to the very bottom. And out, leaving behind anything that is just not serving you right now, leaving behind your day, coming into this moment right here, right now. Perfection. So today I have a very, very exciting special guest for you. This is one of my favorite people, again, that I've ever interviewed, Mary England. So here is a bit about this amazing lady. She wants to remind you what it's like to play out in the street with the wonder of a child. She wants to take your hand, tell you sincerely that you are beautiful. She does an amazing job at that. So welcome, Mary.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be doing this again. I think back to when we did our first interview together and just how it flew by, and we were like, oh my gosh, like this is just, it just couldn't have gone better. It was just so much fun connecting like over the webcam. We were just like, oh my God. So I've been looking forward to this so much. So I'm very excited.
Me too. Yeah, just to warn everybody, this might be 2 hours.
I'm prepared. You might have to take a tea break, but like I've got the liquid. So,
So you believe that your purpose on this planet is to bring happiness to other people.
I do.
I love it. So you don't fail. You're awesome. So I know that you've also struggled with mental illness since you were young, and but you made it through to the other side. And and I love it, where I landed into a pile of glitters. Just love following all of your stuff, all of the social media outlets. You've got that all covered, and you're totally candid and honest about what's going on in your life at all times. But yeah, I know that you've done a great job at healing the inner child within you. So in these days, you allow that child within to come out and play a whole lot. So talk to me about that experience with healing that inner child and setting her free.
So I think that, like, for me, it has been such a beautiful thing to realize, like, what an adult can be. Like, I think when we thought about what adults were before we were adults, we had this idea that like, everyone knew what they were talking about and they had their stuff figured out and everything was just gonna like be like, settled and fine. And we get here and we're like, oh, I'm 30 and nope. And there's like this like beautiful thing of just being able, like, I think what being an adult is actually being able to do what you want. It's freedom. So like I have this whole idea of like it's okay to blank and blank. And this concept of like let's think of something that's like super like hyper adult responsible kind of thing, right? So like it's okay to pay your bills on time, and it's okay to, on your credit card bill, have 2 super sumo suits that you use to like, play outside in the sand. It's okay to use contraception and get STD checked on a regular basis to be safe and have crazy kinky wild sex 10 times a week. It's okay to know first aid and CPR and know where to get ice cream after midnight everywhere in your city. Like, you can do all of these things and be a functioning adult. Like, just because we're playing doesn't mean that we are less of an adult or less of a valid person. Like, you can pay your taxes and have a ball pit in your basement. I know a person. I got you if you're in Baltimore. So like, I just think that for me, like, playing, when I think of self-love, I have created like my own like 10 set of like pillars or commandments or whatever you want to call them. And on one of them, it's play. And I think that it's that important. Like, when I have my like key like e-course of self-love, one of those commandments, these chapters that I preach so hard to people, is to embrace your inner child, to play. And it means different things for different people. Like, it's so important to clarify that, I think, because people, like, when they see me, are like, maybe that's not my jam. They're like, that's okay. We don't need to do what I'm doing. Let's talk about like what you did as a kid. What did you like to do as a kid? There are like, I don't know if you guys have already talked about this with anybody else, but like Dr. Brown has 8 different like play personalities. So like, there's like the artist creator, there's the joker, the kinesthete, I never know how to say that word, the explorer, the competitor, the director, the collector, the storyteller. I'm sure there's like more, but those are like what he came up with. And it's beautiful to kind of like look at this and be like, oh, I don't have to be pigeonholed into like, just because Mary is going out there and playing with sidewalk chalk, that if that's not my jam, I can write a novel and that's my play. Like whatever play is, I think, this idea of doing something for the sake of doing it. And you're not seeking necessarily any reward except maybe the joy that comes out of it. Like, it's purposeless in that purpose. And I think that it's just cool to figure out like what made you happy as a kid and try to recreate that like as an adult. Like, so if you were a storyteller as a kid, like how can you do that as an adult? Can you write down stories? Can you be a narrator? Can you what can you do and have it be something that's separate from your job? When I basically turned my hobbies into my job. I was doing, like a lot of creativity and my self-love and my blog, and I quit my 9-to-5 and I started my own business, and all of a sudden I was like, oh, I don't know that I have hobbies anymore. I have a job of hobbies, which is beautiful and so lucky, but then I was like, I need to find a balance of having something separate, because it's important to have play for the purpose of play,
Sorry, I just muted myself. I hear what you're saying. So yeah, you've got play for the purpose of play, and that's nurturing that inner child. But yeah, it seems like there's a part of humans' personality that's like, okay, I also want to grab onto something and control it, or what would.
Right. Yeah. I think that like we want structure, and like, I think I don't think there's anything wrong with scheduling time to play. I think that's important. I want to schedule self-care. I want you to put yourself on the calendar the same way that you would put a doctor's appointment or your work for scheduling self-care. And there's nothing wrong with scheduling play, but like, you just don't want to be too rigid about it. Once you get into the block of your time period for play, that's when you want to allow yourself to be free and to allow yourself to wing it, because like, play comes from this place of, what do I want to do right now? Like, there's like that id part of ourselves, like in psychology, where Like there's something really beautiful about the id, like what I want right now, like and going after that. You know, one of the biggest ways that I have, like that I practice embracing like play and my inner child myself is to explore. And like that can be, you know, literally traveling, but like I have lived in Baltimore my whole life. It is a city that most people, when they think of murder, rats, The Wire, crabs, that's all they got. And like, unless you're following me on Instagram, that's probably all you got. And that's fine. But like, I, like when people see like the stuff that I like created, like with resources and stuff with Baltimore, and they see like all the stuff that I'm doing, they're like, oh, Baltimore seems amazing. Like must be so much stuff. And I'm like, I'm looking for it. Like I'm trying, like I'm searching for it. I'm exploring, I'm going around corners. I'm allowing myself to backtrack and walk down alleys and look at corners and pick up stones and literally look at the details of things and explore different things and options that are available to me. And like I had this person comment, like I was talking about like making friends, I think was the topic of like, you know, how to make friends as an adult. It's like, you know, something that people ask me about a lot, and I made a post about it. And someone commented on my Facebook and they were like, that must be really nice when you live in a huge city, but I live in blank town, South Dakota, and there's nothing to do here. So I spent my night and I found 80 resources of things that they could do within the next 4 weeks of events and like just things to do. And it was like, it's first of all, South Dakota, and it was not a big town in South Dakota. It was not a big town. And I found 80 in like an hour. So like, try, you know, like look, explore, be open. I think it's about being like available and letting life come to you, and like this literal aspect of exploring. So like not just doing things, like not having this idea of doing things that are purposeless on purpose, but things that are also going to stimulate your creativity and imagination. You know, like I have so many things that I can suggest for that. Like, oh God, like playing the cloud game is so like, that's endless, honestly. Like nature, first of all, is endless and beautiful.
I love that one. Yeah.
Well, like the cloud game, forever. And doing it with someone else, when you see the same thing that someone else sees in a cloud, you're like, oh, that's my person though.
We are
like,
connected.
We're connected now. We both saw that dinosaur, and now we are best friends. It's like stepbrothers. Like, do you want to go do karate in the garage? Yup. And like that's do the cloud game with someone, and you'll either go have weird sex in a motel or like have best friends forever, and they're gonna be.
I like the weird sex part.
It's probably gonna happen either way. Like I don't know. I mean, I've played the cloud game a lot, if you know what I'm saying. But like, so one of my favorite things is sidewalk chalk, and I know it's not like everybody's thing, but like I love sidewalk chalk because it also represents impermanence. And impermanence is something that I love so much with creativity because it's about being present here now and like doing something, and you get to experience it if you were open to the possibility at the moment, right? So like if you are like, I was like, you know, I posted something a couple weeks ago on Instagram of I ran into these people that were, I mean, I'm in the burning community, like Burning Man and stuff. So like I hang out with some pretty weird people. And I ran into people that I've seen like the weirdest costumes, the weirdest hats is what I mean, actually. They were just normal outfits, but like, I can't even describe the hats. You have to see the picture. But there was like 20 of them, and they were just like in the sculpture yard of this museum that I went to for free one day. And I was like, I don't know who you are. And they all just gathered for a picture, and I was just like, okay. And I just took a picture of it, and I posted it on my Instagram. And my old boss from my 9-to-5 job, who still follows me on Instagram, she messaged me, and she was like, you are like living proof that if you go outside with the ability to feel grateful and look for magic, that you'll find it. And I was like, thank you, but also, yes, that. You know what happened to me earlier was I was driving down the road, and there was a guy with a giant drum walking his dog, And I was like, what? Like, this is awesome. And why are you doing that? I don't care, because it's awesome. And like, I just stopped my car in the middle of the street and videotaped him, and no one honked at me because it was awesome. And we were all living in that moment, because if we had left our houses 5 seconds earlier or gotten a red light, like, we wouldn't have seen that. And that's what I love about like the ability of like impermanence and temporariness. Like, so that's what I come back to with sidewalk chalk, is like doing something that is like in this moment. It's not something that's like, it's guerrilla art, but it's not defacing something. You can be colorful, you can write kind messages, and next time it rains, it goes away and you have a blank slate. So it's all these beautiful messages all at once. Then there's just simple things like twirling. Like, why did we stop twirling, or like going when you're wearing a skirt, going underneath a fan that blows up? You're like, why did we stop doing that? I don't know. That feels awesome. Like engaging in like sensory stuff that feels good, like sticking your hand in like buckets of seeds and stuff at the grocery store. It's probably not savory, but like it feels good, man. Yeah, it's so good.
The bean bin.
Yes, yes. Like looking at rain as not a hindrance, but like this beautiful thing that's happening. Like going outside on purpose to get wet, splash in puddles. Like doing something fun in the rain, like dancing in the rain, mud wrestling. I don't know, like not looking at rain is like, oh crap, my hair, like, ugh. It's like, no, maybe you're getting wet. Like maybe this is cool. Speaking in a silly accent for no reason, like to a random person when you're giving them directions. Like just be silly. Like if you can do so many things, you can play dress up by yourself or with people. Like I love blowing bubbles so much that I will organize a bubble parade in Baltimore every year. It's coming up, and there's 2,000 people interested. And literally all we do
I gotta go there.
Go down the street and blow bubbles. We walk up and down a block like for a half an hour and blow bubbles, and 2,000 people are like, I'm gonna do that, because that's how crazy we are for play. We don't get it. There's no outlets for it. So like when people are like, oh, I can just, all I have to do is dress up and like, that sounds beautiful. Like, yeah, absolutely, sign me up. And it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I love it.
And it's amazing what play can do too. Like people, that's how we learn.
Yes.
And people forget that. Like even kids, it kills me to see kids just kind of like sitting and medicated and, you know, and I'm like, why are you doing that? They have to play. Like
you have to play. And we forget like so much of, yeah, exactly. We learn through play. Like so many people, like how many people can say, I learn the best when you teach me, like with something, when I'm, you know, not just visually, auditory, or, you know, whatever, but like when you're tactilely doing the thing, that's part of play. Like, like, and
that problem solving and negotiating, trying to figure out like, oh, you know, and you get together like, oh,
and we can like, so first of all, I also want to say, I should have prefaced with this. So people get like just distraught when they find out that I don't want children. So like when they see that like I am just like the biggest kid ever and that I don't want kids, like I'm not gonna like go on a tangent, get all political here, but like you can also play without having kids. Like you do not need a child in order to have a permission slip to have fun. So like that needs to be said. Like people are always like, oh, well, you love blah, 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 so you would be a great mom. Like, nope, those are completely separate things. But you also don't need a kid just because, like, you might need one to get into Chuck E. Cheese. Like, let's be real about it. I've tried. It gets a little hard. But other than that, like, I'm pretty sure that you can just go buy toys and just live your life. Like, it's fine.
Crash the bouncy castle. Yeah.
And we can also learn so much from kids. Like, I'm not a huge fan of kids. I'm not good with them, really. But, like, they laugh, like, 300 to 400 times a day. And we are, like, it's the percentage, I can't remember off the top of my head, but it is abysmal, like, in comparison. And, like, thinking about even just babies. Like, what can we learn from, like, babies who are just, like, crying and screaming and sleeping and doing what they want when they want, that id factor of just like, why are we penalizing ourselves and stigmatizing our innate emotions. I feel like that goes along with play. Like if you want to cry out of joy or you're upset, release. Like that's part of this, you know.
And being honest about those emotions.
Yeah.
That's something that I love about your work too, is you're like, it's all over. You're like, hey man, I am feeling like crap today. And this is what's going on. And you'll have a picture that's illustrating it just beautifully. And I'm like, and it's in a playful way.
I tried to be like transparent just because I found that has honestly been the thing that has been the most helpful for people. Like people respond to reality. Like nobody, like people are getting over curated Instagrams and like only seeing the happy moments. And like if I'm going to talk to you about self-love and mental health that are non-linear journeys, then I need to talk to you about the dips and the ebbs. That, you know, like I can't just talk to you about my happy days. And it's not to get sympathy or to have a pity party, but also you want to have a pity party, put on some balloons and a wig and throw yourself a pity party and actually do it. Like, you know, sometimes it's just
you actually took a picture like that, didn't you?
I did do that, yeah. So like there's something really beautiful about like dedicating these moments and like being really deliberate about stuff that we do. Like having a pity party or crying or masturbating or something, like putting on teal lipstick and a wig and blowing up balloons to do something that feels mundane, you know, or celebrating stuff that feels silly. You know, one of the big things that I do is celebrate unusual holidays. And that was one of the things that really helped me. Like, I started doing that before it was popular. First of all, I'm sorry to be a hipster about it, but like before you guys realized that you could drink on Margarita Day, I was in my office bringing in chips for Chip Day and s'mores for S'more Day and all that stuff, and researching stuff on websites that were like GeoCities from the 80s. And like, I love celebrating unusual holidays because it was one of the two things that brought me out of one of my very difficult funks of mindset. That was the idea that you need to save things for a more special occasion. And that's bullshit. Today is the day. Today is always the day. Today can every day can be the day to wear that thing, to use that special thing. Why can't today be that special day? It absolutely can be. And I think celebrating unusual holidays is such a good lesson in that. Like sometimes people will get mad at me because they're like, oh, I didn't have enough notice to celebrate Flamingo Day. And I'm like, do it today, dude. Do it today. Do you think that it matters? Do you think that
better late than never?
Yeah, like the idea is to like bring attention to this thing that we forget about, that is glossed over, that is something that we forget about when it becomes, you know, whatever. And we're like, oh, Flamingo Day, how can I make that fun? And brainstorm how you can make that fun. Do you think that doing it on Thursday instead of Wednesday is ruining the experience? No. It's about celebrating it in your own way. And that is part of play. Like bringing your own party hats to a restaurant. I carry around, to be fair, I stole it from a restaurant, but like it's a reserved sign, like a little mini silver reserve sign, and I carry it around in my purse. And like when my boyfriend and I will go to places, like a fast food restaurant or a place, like literally anywhere that doesn't make sense, like we'll just put it out, and they'll come back and they'll be like, is this ours? And I'm like, no, I'm sorry, this is reserved. Can I help you? And they're just like so confused. And I'll just like put on party hats for no reason and bring my own like silverware and stuff. And they're just like, can you do this? And I'm like, can you not do this? Is there a rule? Is there a rule? And they're just like, I don't know. Like, and it's like, yeah, you can actually do whatever you want, actually.
I love that. And it's just blowing the shit out of should.
Yeah.
That's what you do.
Why can't you do what you want to do? Why can't you be playful and silly for no reason other than the fact that you want to when it's calling out to you? Why can't you decide that if you get to work from home today, you can do it from a fort that you make out of blankets and pillows? Like, why can't you, like, make a tradition out of catching the first lightning bug? I'm sorry, I'm from Baltimore, firefly. We say lightning bug, I don't know why. Popping bubble wrap when you're stressed. flying a kite. Like, I went to a kite festival, and it was just kids like flying kites, and I was like, fly kite, adults, like, grab kites, like, and then, like, when I had my friends do it, they were like, this is so much fun, and I was like, I know, right? Like, just go to a playground, literally, go swing on a swing. When's the last time you swung on a swing? I mean, to be fair, like, the playgrounds aren't as cool as they used to, because, like, they took away all the wooden ones, and now, like, if you can't get a splinter, I, like, have a warrior wound in the same way. You just get, like, really staticky hair from these super slides. And, like, when you go down the slides, you don't get 4th-degree burns from the metal from the hot sun.
Isn't that sad?
Real children.
Bubble wrapping kids.
Yeah. But, you know, visiting a playground. You're allowed to go to a playground. I mean, maybe don't pee in it after dark so you're not allowed to live somewhere, but, like, you know, like, you can go to a playground. It's okay. Yeah. You can make out on a playground if there's no kids around. Like, you can get weird with it. Like, you can hula hoop for exercise instead of going running or to the gym. You can, every year I get my picture taken with Santa and the Easter Bunny, and I get real weird with it. I, like, get up on the Easter Bunny, and I, like, grind on him, and I'm like, what's going on? And I, like, do stuff, and I'm like, I always make the people that are doing this, because they like, shake the rattle, you know, like, for the babies to get their attention. I'm like, I want the full treatment, so, like, if you can get my attention, and, like, they're like, but you're an adult, you shouldn't be here. And I'm like, don't tell me about how to live my life, man. Please shake the rattle. And I'm like, ah! And, like, it's fun. It's fun. And you can just dance. Oh my God, you can just dance. And if you're naked, you get bonus points. And send me a video. Like, I don't know. You know, there's so many things that we can do, like, that are play that we forget that counts. And it's all real. It's all real. And I don't know, like, I also think that we need to stop feeling guilty for these guilty pleasures. I hate the term guilty pleasure. Stop. You like something. Like when people are like, oh my God, like, I guess probably my guilty pleasure is, like, mashed potatoes on the Backstreet Boys. I'm like, oh, you still like something from your childhood and something delicious? Be more interesting. Like, stop. Like, you're allowed to like what you like. Like, just own it. Tell me that you like that. And maybe I'll be like, dude, I like that too. And then we can go do something about it. Instead of being like, I mean, I guess you could say that I'm like a little bit, and I'm like, okay, like, that's fine. But, like, the term guilty pleasures is bullshit, and it should be removed from our vocabularies, because guilty and pleasure are oxymorons.
They're not, exactly.
They don't go together.
Right. And you know, and how the world is really seriously changing. You know, I just feel like, yeah, back in the 60s, it was just so suit and tie, and, like, let's just pretend that, you know, that childhood thing never happened.
Yeah, I mean, I think millennials are like, they're doing a lot of things that I'm just like, okay, that's fine. But you know, we are getting rid of the flat sheets, which I think is great, and we don't need those. And I think we're also getting more in touch with our emotions. So, you know, there's gonna be good things, and, you know, like, better, like, environmental. It's a lot of good things. I don't know, that's a whole other thing. But, you know, like, even with thinking about other groups of people, like, you don't have to play by yourself. Like, asking other people to play with you just elevates stuff. Like, playing by yourself is better than nothing always. I have been playing by myself. That sounds the way it should. And like, I've my whole life had partners that didn't want to play with me. Like, I've had people be like, why are you doing that? This is annoying. Like, and I'm just like, I'm not asking you to play with me. I'm just asking you to not get in my way. And I finally.
Oh, that's so good. That's totally unapologetic.
Yeah. Like, I'm just like, don't get in my way. Like, but there were people that would be like literally stopping me or telling me that was stupid. And I'm just like, do you feel better now? Does that, you know, like, stop. Don't get in the way of other people's joy. Right. Just because you don't understand it. But I finally also now have a partner who experiences joy, like, when he sees a dog, it's like I almost get into car accidents because of like the extreme emotion that he exhibits.
Tense emotion.
I love dogs too, like, but it's
It's a whole other level.
It's dangerous. Like we're those people that go to like we've found all of these Facebook groups that are like specifically for corgis or dachshunds or bulldogs or whatever, and we just go to them without a dog and it's like, what's up? And they're like, where's your dog? We're like, I don't know, what?
I want to hang out with your dog.
Yeah. And we like go to the park across the street from my house and we just like buy treats and we just like hand them out to dogs and we have these prizes that we hand out to dogs. I get the whole thing. But like getting other people to join in on your play, like having a sleepover or a picnic or a board game night or just going outdoors, like I don't know, like just doing anything in numbers escalates the energy. And if you don't have someone to play with, that is okay. You will find someone. Keep playing and those people will be drawn to you. It's the same with any other kind of vibration that you're putting out into the world. Like people will come to you. They will literally see you playing outside and they will come find you. Like it will happen. It's the same thing online. It's the same thing everywhere. It's the same thing with anything in your life, babe. But like, just because you don't have a partner or a best friend that's interested or willing to try to play because they think that they're too adult, they think they're too above it, they're not willing to explore, that does not mean that you do not need to. That does not mean this is not an important thing that you need to do in your life. And again, you do not need a child to do this. This is something that we need to schedule, that we need to prioritize, because getting in touch with our inner child through play is so damn important, because it's also a stress reliever. Holy shit. Like when we are so like wrapped up in all the stuff that we're doing as adults, how do we get rid of that? Like besides drinking or like these other coping mechanisms that we've developed that maybe aren't even that healthy. Like, have you tried going outside and petting a dog and going on my front porch where I have like sidewalk chalk and a sign that says to draw, and I have a bunch of interactive stuff set up on my porch so people like come to my porch? Like, it's weird and it looks like I'm trying to lure kids and dogs. And I mean, I guess I am, but like, they don't come into my house. It's fine. Like, it's all right. But like, I don't know. I also think that it like getting more deep with it, that you know we have an inner child that, like, look at like a picture of you from 10 years ago and it feels like another world, right? So thinking about who we were as a child and those memories feels so distant, but that does not mean that they were not extremely important and formative. Like when you think of a memory from your childhood, you remember it. When the ones you remember, and they are important, and they have shaped you, whether you want to admit it or not. Like, I mean, it's there, and there are different levels of your inner child. There is a 3-year-old version of you, there is a 5-year-old version of you, there is an 8-year-old, a 12-year-old, and they all need to be loved. And there are a lot of introspective things that we can do through self-care to talk and embrace and love our inner child. So like literally doing meditations. There are guided ones online. Louise Hay and Abraham Hicks do some amazing ones of talking to your inner child and also forgiving your inner child for not knowing what was going on and doing the best that you could with what you had at the time, and writing a letter to your inner child, like just thinking about like, how would my 8-year-old self see me now? How would they be proud of me? What would they be like, really? Like, and is that something that I'm okay with? And if you are okay with that, that's fine. Your life path can change as many times as you want it to. But if you are like, my 12-year-old self would feel like I'm an asshole, maybe that's something that you should journal about, you know?
Right.
And like
and there's a reason for that, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah, so like get that out, explore that.
Exactly. That's part of all of this. It's part of all of this.
Right, right. It's like playing with those emotions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And forgiving who our baby selves, and knowing that like all we can do now is love them, and that can come out and in all the ways that we're talking about, and nurturing them is loving them, but also getting in touch with them and feeling like we're a little more connected to them in a tangible way, even if it feels silly at first, is important and okay.
I love this stuff. Oh my goodness. So did you have an exercise or something that you'd like for us to try?
Oh man.
She's like, let me go through
There's
my
so
brain.
many things.
All the things.
God, there's so many things. So I think it's important to first think about, like we talked about, what you liked to do as a child. Like I think that is going to be important for you to do a little bit of introspection before you start this journey of play, especially if you're new to it. And I think that's going to be in the worksheet for you to download. So this is going to be part of that. So figuring out, the play personalities, you can Google those and figuring out maybe if that's, you respond to one better than the other, and looking at ways that can translate into adult life for you right now, that works for you and your schedule and your money and all those things. Because play doesn't need to be expensive. It doesn't need to be huge. Time sucks. It shouldn't be a time suck. It's fun. But I think that I just want you to try to do something silly. Like, I really think that like doing something that feels a little maybe weird or outrageous, or like doing something celebratory or something mundane, something that feels like you are going above and beyond for something very normalized, I think would be my first suggestion. Like where you are looking into celebrating an unusual holiday, like bringing your own party hats to a restaurant, like, getting out that thing that you've been saving, that dress or that china or whatever it is that you think is too good for, like, you're waiting for the Pope to come to your house. Well, he might not come and you need to use that thing. So you bought it for a reason because you love it. Stop keeping it in a box. It doesn't need to be on a pedestal. So like, I think that is probably like one of my biggest suggestions. And then to also just literally go explore something, to go out on foot, wandering. There's a whole book on wandering by Carrie Smith literally just Carrie Smith, I love. But Carrie Smith has a whole bunch of books, like How to Be an Explorer of the World, The Wanderer Society, and there are all these ideas about basically just looking at the world with fresh eyes. So set out on a walk that can be literally around your neighborhood. You don't have to drive anywhere. It can be from your front door. And you are basically just looking for details. Set out with a list. It can be a scavenger hunt list. It can just be, I want to find 10 things that are red. And you have to look for things that are red. And you can journal about it. You can take pictures. You can draw them, however you want to document it. But find a way to look for details and to look at things from a new perspective, because it'll start to like kind of open up like these dusty boxes in our brains of creativity and imagination that might have been closed off for a little while.
Those are so good. I mean, there's like a gazillion ideas all throughout this interview. So yeah, I want to encourage you to watch it over and over and over, write them down, put them on your refrigerator.
I'll put them all, I'll put like 30 suggestions in the worksheet, and then I'll have like a bunch of ways that you can do some introspection and some journaling also.
Yes.
For
Yes.
freebie.
So download that. Like the link's going to be underneath this video. So yeah, download that. Put it on your fridge. Have some fun. Thank you so much, Mary. This has been incredible. I love connecting with you. And
it's always so much fun. And fun talking about fun. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Exactly. I feel so invigorated right now. I feel like I have to go outside.
I do too. I want to go do something. Yeah. I'm like, I want to go do like cartwheels or something. Stand
on. Cartwheels! We didn't say cartwheels!
It's fun though too, because like now I'm at the age where if I do cartwheels, I see stars.
Stars. Yeah, same. I used to be able to like hula hoop and do cartwheels like it was. I mean, I also danced for 11 years, so like I was like, it was fine. I could just like do a split, you know. But now my friends are both of my best friends in the past 6 months have thrown their backs out gardening and doing a jigsaw puzzle. So that's where we're at. But those are cheap ways to play, honey. Just watch your back. Watch your back. Watch your back.
But yeah, I think that connecting to that joy in your body even is so important. You know, it's like if this feels good, don't be afraid to do that, you know? Yeah. Oh my goodness, this was awesome. Thank you so much. Watch your back.
Watch your back. Oh
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you. Absolutely. Thank you guys.
Thank you, all of you. Thank you, all of you. Be sure to catch all of the rest of these videos in the series, and I will see you later.
Can't wait. Bye, babe.
Oh, I almost